someone can call you 10 naira, it all depends on the network. So even if it's 10 naira that comes to the subscriber, they'll say thumbs up to NCC for making the man or the woman get 10 naira back on his phone. It's your money due, isn't it?
Well, Slyman, the thing is this. I believe that the subscriber, the consumers on these networks also, they have the right to ask their networks for compensation. It's not just NCC asking the network to compensate, but we believe that every subscriber has the right to ask for compensation from a service provider if they believe that they have been shortchanged. Now, you know, most of these services that are provided, there are terms and conditions. But we have discovered that sometimes our people don't really read those terms and conditions to really see what the provisions of those terms and conditions are. But I believe just like in any other service that is provided in any part of the world, a consumer has the right to ask for a compensation if he believes that his service, that the service that he has paid for has not been provided. And I think that consumers should be able to do that.
All right, let's look at some specific cases, and perhaps you could tell us if you're aware of this ones. We see some tweeting in because Etisalat currently going through some challenges. No BlackBerry service for some days now, they tell the subscribers, and subscribers complaining that they have actually charged for that service, and at the moment, nothing is being said, not even anything near compensation. But Zuwaira sends a message in and she says, Glo gave her 2 days extra last month as compensation. And then you have people complaining that, well, the rate of drop calls with MTN Abuja Axis is really high. These are specific cases. What does the quality of service regulation of NCC 2012 say about some of these matters?
Now, where a network is not been able to provide service that has been paid for, that network should compensate the consumers. And we believe that consumers should be able to ask the particular network to compensate them. And of course, we are aware that in the past, there have been compensations for when people have made demands. You know, the thing about service provisioning is that it's on case-by-case basis, because quality of service actually to some point really, in some cases may vary. You could have poor quality of service in some area. In some areas you have good quality of service. So people who are affected, what we advise is that they should first and foremost complain to the service provider. That is the first level of support, first level of complaint. Now, if they don't get a redress when they have complained to the network, then they should escalate it to the NCC. And of course, it will be addressed.
Okay, at what point, or is the NCC not empowered at a certain point in time to suspend the license of the operators?
Can you just say that again, please?
I said, considering the fact that some of these operators may not have the means or the facility to compensate as they ought to, maybe over the time they've been offending the subscribers, at what point is the NCC allowed to suspend their license?
Or disconnect.
Or disconnect?
Well, there are provisions in the Act, in our laws also for revocation of license. But of course, you know that the revocation of license is an extreme case because there are implications and consequences when a license is revoked. Now, you're also taking into account the number of subscribers on that particular network. If, for instance, we say today that one particular network license is revoked and they're no longer able to operate. Now, you can imagine the implication for the millions and millions of subscribers on that particular network. So you see, revocation of license is the last resort. But we believe, and that's why we have our compliance management and enforcement guidelines that enables the regulator to enforce the provisions of these guidelines with a view to whipping the networks into line. Now, and that has been going on. I want to tell you that in 2013, we're going to see a substantial improvement in the quality of service. And the reason is because some of the regulatory interventions that are going to come on stream in 2013. And one of that is the number portability. All over the world where you have number portability, it whips networks into line, because you are going to lose your customers, your subscribers, if you're not providing the kind of quality of service that they require. And we know that the moment that takes off in the first quarter of next year is going to change a lot of things in the telecoms landscape.
I'm sure Nigerians really can't wait to see that, because it is a fantastic a plan if only NCC can follow it through and through. I remember the last time you were here in our Lagos studios, we talked about two key issues, and we'll still see them because we have telephones, and it has to do with telecoms promos and unsolicited text messages that come into your phone on a daily basis. What is NCC doing about this one? Or should we just say it's one of those things we can't wish away?
Well, we have engaged the networks on this. And of course, NCC is working with some of the industry regulators. For instance, the Consumer Protection Council as well also is there to look at the issues that has to do with consumers. And also the Nigerian Lottery Commission is also there to look at the issues that probably will just is just shortchanging the consumers. But however, we have engaged the networks to say, look, your platforms should not be used to provide unsolicited messages. And of course, you know that in these days of technology and the internet, the world has become a global village. And they had told us that some of these messages actually do not originate from their network and not going through their platforms. So it's not even only in Nigeria that you have unsolicited messages. You have it in other parts of the world as well, because of the way technology is going. However, the Commission also is addressing it, and I believe next year substantially is an area that is going to be addressed, and we're going to see that reduced tremendously. And just make one point. You see, for the fact that I'm here in your studios in Abuja and on this platform, you're speaking to me on the telephone. And since we started on this program, it's not broken. I've been communicating with you, and I believe all your listeners are hearing me. And I think that's also an advancement.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't want to know what we're using anyway.
Before now, I would have come to your studios in Lagos. I've always been there. I've been there several times. But today I'm speaking to you from Abuja.
That doesn't mean
that's
they will pass
also
the
something
KPI
that has
test.
happened in telecoms, and I think we should commend that.
Does that mean they'll pass the KPI test because you say this hasn't broken?
You say what?
Does that mean that some of them will pass this KPI test? Just by this one.
When we get to the bridge, we cross it. Our consultants are carrying out the drive test as we speak, and after the drive test, the result will be analyzed, and it's going to be published, both on our website and the newspapers. The outcome of the drive test for all the networks, for all the parameters, will be published for the Nigerian consumers to see how the networks have performed. It's not going to be something under the table. It's going to be published on our website and in the newspapers.
Well, a quick one here before you go. Once upon a time, cable operators, specifically DSTV, if you are leaving, maybe you're going on vacation, you can easily place a call and tell them to suspend your subscription till you return. But it looks like that is history now. What is NCC doing about that?
Well, for your telephone, at least it's supposed to generate some economic income, at least for 90 days. It shouldn't be for 90 days without either somebody calling you or you making a call. Of course, I believe that if someone is going to travel for a very long time and you request the network to probably put the line on hold,